Good morning, everybody. Top of the morning to you guys. Happy Friday. This February 17th, 2023. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I got a story last night that was quite shocking, quite interesting. More shocking was the fact that it was actually covered by News 12. Turns out they were able to take time away from their thrice weather reports every half hour to cover something that actually matters. Turns out Sachem sent out a survey yesterday that they're not really feeling too good about. Also, I've got a story about how a federal judge lets Kathy Hochul know that free speech actually matters in this country, and we're getting armed security guards at Smithtown High School. Which, as I've said before, I wish we lived in a place that didn't have those sorts of things, but that didn't need those sorts of things. However, we don't, because we've spent, I don't know, the last 25 years hooking our kids up to psychotropic drugs, and turns out there were some negative effects to that. Turns out there was some things not going very well there. So I do want to welcome everybody in this morning. Make sure you guys smash that Rumble button, share this video across all your social media platforms. Want to welcome everybody in from Truth Social. Guys, if you're not on True Social, make sure you check out the Rat Pack over there. They're doing a great job helping this channel grow more and more every day. Also, there's an article in The Point today. I'm not going to read it because, I'm just not going to. But you might want to check it out. Just give it a look. Also, guys, head on over to loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the shop. Of course, we're on Rumble, Renee. Of course, we're on Rumble. Bumping it right now. Watching it over on the other computer. Head on over to loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the shop. We just got the USA hoodies back in. Backed by popular demand. People were asking for those. So make sure you grab those. You guys can use promo code LFA at checkout for 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code LFA for 20% off everything on the website. Make sure you guys get your CPAC tickets if you want to come hang out with us, the LFA crew, down at CPAC. It's going to be a hell of a time. It's right in Maryland. It's drivable. So anybody who wants to come, make sure you're there. It's definitely going to be a good time. But the big story out of Long Island yesterday, I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I do, is that Sachem decided to send out not a very nice survey to a collection of 15-year-old girls, and it turns out some parents are pretty pissed off about it, as well they should be. This, I can't believe, you know what, as I say, credit where credit is due. I will give News 12 credit when they cover something other than the weather, which is what they've done here. Parents furious at the personal and explicit survey giving to Sachem East High School students. I don't know if this is going on in North also. I just know that it's happening in East. Some parents say they can't even do this correctly. Some parents say they are outraged. No, some parents are outraged. So I'll edit your copy for you, News 12, because I know Kevin VC wouldn't want to do anything except, mask the truth, because he's a terrible reporter. But some parents say that they are outraged about a survey that was sent to their kids at Sachem High School North. I'm sorry. Wow. Sachem East High School. I don't know why they wrote it that way. That asked personal and intimate questions. The quiz was sent to 10th graders as part of their health class, and it asked them about their sexual activity and sexual preferences. Now, obviously, you know that the schools can't do anything but talk about sex to the kids. The questions include how many sexual partners have you had, while others had to do with their gender and sexual identity. Now, it's a little bit more than that. They did edit this video because obviously they don't want you to know what's actually happening at the schools. But I will tell you, because we've got the screenshots to prove what it said on there. The survey also inquired about their students' views on their weight and if they're trying to change their weight. One father, who wanted to keep his name hidden to protect his child, says he's shocked at what he saw in the survey. Now, for some reason, News 12 took out. Wow. This was updated 10 hours ago. So when I checked it last night, it had the full survey list of what was said in there. It asked, and look, guys, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because this is what has to be said. You guys have to know the truth that Sachem High School was asking 15-year-old girls if they've ever participated in oral sex, vaginal sex, anal sex, how many sexual partners they've had. Then, of course, they went into all the classic earmarks, your gender identity and your sexual preference. Now, obviously, and then they did something about weight, on whether or not you want to lose weight. First off, most people want to lose weight. That's not it's not a shocking thing. I don't really, even if you're in shape, most people want to lose more weight. Like, everyone wants to get in better shape than they're currently in. Of course, News 12 leaves this out because they suck. This father said they were extremely personal and explicit questions. The father said something I don't think any child of that age should be asked, even older children at that point. I think it would be even uncomfortable for adults if those questions were asked. I'm going to pull up right here. Somebody sent them to me last night. I'm going to pull up the exact wording of all of them that News 12 decided to leave out. Let me see here. Where is it? There we go. All right. So apparently they said this survey it was a survey on teen health risk behavior survey that went out to the 15-year-olds of Sachem High School. One of the questions was, which of the following describes you? Heterosexual, gay or lesbian, bisexual, queer, asexual, pansexual. I'm not sure of my sexual identity. I do not know what this question is asking. Now, that's a little mild. I'll say that's a little mild. Things they shouldn't be asking. But here we go. Here's one. Have you ever participated in vaginal or anal sexual intercourse? Have you ever participated in oral sex? This is fun. I'm really happy I get to start off your morning hearing crap like this. During your life, how many people have you been sexually active with? Vaginal, anal, or oral? And then it gives a list of times a person has done that. Sachem High School, I don't really know what the hell you're doing or why you think that sort of thing is appropriate. But according to some parents, they were shocked that it actually came from the school. The superintendent of Sachem Central School District had a really stupid response to this. Just a dumbass response, but what would you expect from people put into place by the teachers union? The superintendent for Sachem Central School District said the quizzes were sent out to assess at-risk behaviors, writing, the survey is anonymous and optional, and informs the district of areas in which they can assist their students with available resources for support as needed. I'm not really sure why asking 15-year-old girls how often they've given head is something that you need to assist them with. I don't even know why that would be something that you would even consider talking about to someone of that age group. I don't know why you'd want to know these things. Personally, I just think that people can't seem to stop talking to kids about sex. Now, am I going to sit here as some sort of a sexual prude? No, you're never going to get that from me. Am I going to sit here and it's not going to happen? However, what I will say is the obsession with it. We all went through high school. We all did the health class. We all watched The Miracle of Life. There was the banana. There was the condom. Everybody laughed. It was hilarious. It was awkward as hell. We all left the class and told stupid jokes about it. We all did that. This is something very different, okay? I do not remember at the age of 15 being asked how many times I've engaged in anal sex. I'll be honest with you, when I was 15, I'm not even sure if I knew that was a concept. But, alas, this is the place we have found ourselves in. Following the anger from parents, the survey was pulled by the district and is under review. It is not clear if the district will continue with the survey in the future or if they will abandon it completely. Others in the district are asking for an investigation. They want to know if there will be consequences for whomever is responsible for this survey. Spoiler alert, there won't be. There won't be. This is probably from some teacher who's thinking she's doing the right thing, thinking they're doing the right thing, thinking he's doing the right thing, whoever the hell it may be, and maybe they'll probably get suspended with leave or some sort of a boring suspension where they'll get a 2-week vacation. Then they'll end up coming back because as we all know, as we talk about on this show repeatedly, the teachers unions have got the entire school districts by the balls, and it cost almost $1 million to fire a bad teacher. As we've seen in Babylon High School, turns out you can groom children and keep your job for 30 years. So if you think that any teacher is going to be punished in any way for this sort of thing, let me disabuse you of that notion right now. We're probably never going to find out who the teacher was who sent it out. We're probably never going to find it. It'll come from the health department as a whole. Some boring statement will be put out in 2 days that News 12 will not cover, or they'll put it in their opinion section, and this will all just go away until the next time it happens. Until, I don't know, 15 years from now, we find out there was a teacher at Sachem High School who was doing vile things to children, and it was all swept under the rug, like we saw at Babylon High School. It's exactly what's going to happen. People, the school districts, I don't know if they go out of their way. It is ironic that school districts will go out of their way not to learn from their mistakes. They'll go out of their way not to learn from their mistakes. Like I said, I'm not sitting here and saying that you need to remove all sex ed from schools. I don't believe that. I think there are some weird conversations that everyone gets to laugh about in school. As I said, the banana with the condom, always funny. Will always be funny. Will never not be funny. I had to go through it. We laughed our asses off. It was very funny. But obviously, in this freaky world where nothing seems to matter, where the androgynous and the ambiguous are celebrated, people like Sam Smith, who has the audacity to go on television and claims that when he is done with singing, he wants to be a fisher them. Because, you can't say fisherman or fisherwoman because, there may be non-binary pansexual leprechauns who want to end up being fishermen. So we've got to call them fisher thems. Or, we've got to see poor performances at award shows that are supposed to be celebrated. When you celebrate art that is obscene in nature without any real talent behind it, this is what happens. It all seeps down into the culture. It all seeps down. But, hey, look, all I'm doing is pointing out a trend. And liberals will say, hi, Sarah, hi, Patty, I know you're watching. What they'll say is, oh, that's just the slippery slope argument. And I go, yeah, you're right, it is. It's exactly what it is. We don't nip this crap in the bud right now. We don't put a stop to this. We don't find out that our kids are being questioned about, and they're saying that this survey was optional. Okay, fine, it was optional. But why is it being asked in the first place? What sort of data could they gain? First off, who out there wants to know what percentage of Sachem High School students are having anal sex? Who is the researcher that wants to do that? What crappy sociology professor from Stony Brook is doing that study? I don't know. I don't know what it is bewildering that someone saw that and was like, you know what? I need that so badly that I'm going to send it out on the Chromebooks that are provided to the students by the school. You notice something here? You got the survey from the school and you got the students. There's something missing in the middle here. What the hell would that be? School, students. Right. All right. We're cutting the parents out as usual. We're cutting the parents out of everything that is going on when it comes to sexuality amongst children because we, the normal people, the people who watch this show know that were that kind of crap to go on, were that crap to filter through the parents, it would be nipped in the bud immediately because something tells me if the Sachem School District had sent out a letter to all the parents that said, hello, parents of Sachem East High School, we're going to be asking your 15-year-old girl a survey about how many sexual partners she's had, or how often she performs oral sex. Something tells me there probably wouldn't have been too many respondents positively to that sort of thing. But no, not in New York. In New York, we have to hide it from the parents, just as if your kid wants to transition. If they want to be called Zim Zer and all sorts of other stupid names that you didn't give them, that stuff gets hidden from you. Anytime, look, I've said it on this show. I've said it on my national show, rumble.com/LFATV at 1 o'clock. I've said it on all of these shows. If you have to hide something from parents, it's because you're doing something wrong. And this is coming from a person who, my parents both deserve medals for what they put up with me growing up as a teenager. Because let me tell you, I was no saint. I was certainly no saint. But what I will tell you is that even as a child, I knew if I was hiding something from my parents, it's because it was something I wasn't supposed to be doing. Even as a teenager, I knew that. So what does the school think? So the school wants to hide things from parents. Why? Because the parents might not like it too much. They've got to hide the fact. I think it's Eastport South Manor. I might have the school mixed up. I got a message about it the other day. Sure enough, the book Genderqueer is now popping up in more and more libraries. You know, the book with explicit gay sex drawn in cartoon fashion in middle school libraries, available for the world. And for all the idiots out there who are trying to say that I'm trying to ban books, no, I'm not. If you want your kid to read that crap, then go buy it for them. But just know, if you want your kid to read that crap, you're a terrible parent. You're a bad father. You're a bad mother if you want your kid to read that book. Go buy it. It's on Amazon. Have a good time. You wanna turn your kids into some weirdo sexual sadists like Sam Smith? Then have them read that book at 12 years old. But I don't think that regular kids should just stumble upon that crap in the library. And I want to be clear, just so it doesn't get spun, because I know there's probably, I don't know, some idiot out there named Marie or something that'll cut this video and tear it up, and it'll probably make some ridiculous video on the Smithtown BOE Explained page. It's not about the gay stuff, it's about the sex stuff. I'd be just as upset if a middle school library had Hustler in it, or Playboys. I'd be just as upset at that, because there's no need for that crap. 12, 13, 14-year-olds should be reading good American literature. The same books we all read growing up. Huck Finn, The Outsiders. How about a little James Baldwin? How about a little Orwell? Right? What happened to Animal Farm? What happened to 1984? We don't read those anymore. No. They get assigned a book called Genderqueer that has a picture of one guy blowing another guy. Oh yeah. That's not the degradation. That's not the degrading of literature in schools. No, we can't read Gatsby anymore. There's too many white people in it. No, we can't do that. We can't read Of Mice and Men because it stigmatizes the mentally ill. So instead, we're going to put a book that has gay porn in it right front and center in the library. I'm waiting to confirm which school that is. I said it was Eastport South Manor. I may be incorrect. I don't want to. I believe that's what it was, but I could be wrong. But moving on from that, we got to talk about another Long Island school district that plans to hire armed guards. Now it's happening in the town of Smithtown, where I'm currently sitting. But as I said before, I wish we lived in a world where we didn't need these sorts of things. However, we've degraded our culture so much, and we've pushed the self-esteem generation to such a point now where now so many young people are suffering from anxiety and depression, maybe because we hooked them up on Adderall and Ritalin their entire lives, as they did to my entire generation, that now they're all screwed up. Maybe it's the fact that if you want to commit a mass shooting, you go to a place where you know there are no guns. Could that be it? I think that's it. Because right now, if you live anywhere near South Huntington, Smithtown, I think there's one or two other schools that have armed guards, and you want to go out with a bang, you want to take a bunch of people with you because you're miserable, you're not going to do it here because you know damn well there's going to be guns in these schools. I wish we lived in a time where we didn't need this sort of crap, but we do. We do live in that time. The Smithtown Central School District announced on Wednesday it plans to hire armored guards to be stationed outside of the schools, joining a growing number of Long Island districts that intend to or have deployed armed guards. While the district has enhanced its security measures, we have come to the stark realization that there is more we can do to better protect the members of the school community, according to a letter to the community signed by the superintendent, Mark Secor, and the school board president, Matthew Gribbins, and the rest of the board members. Look, okay, I've had it out with Secor before. I've had it out with Gribbins before. I will say thank you. You've done the right thing. I applaud you. Now let's try to build on that momentum. You see, when you do the right thing, people praise you for doing the right thing. I'm sure the same 30 idiots that protested me outside of Smithtown Town Hall are probably writing you an email right now. Just know half of them don't live in the district, and they are in the very loud minority. They're incredibly annoying. They're boring, desperate housewives that have nothing else going on in their lives. Just know that you've done the right thing here, and I will applaud you, Matt Gribbins. I will applaud you, Mark Secor. This time. The district did not say how many armed guards it would have, how many armed guards it plans to deploy, or where they would begin, but noted they will be adding to the exterior perimeter of each of our schools. The North Shore District, the sixth largest district on Long Island with more than 8,000 students, has 12 schools, 7 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 2 high schools. The district's announcement came a day after a budget workshop where a general fund budget overview was presented, including a proposal for armed guards at about $850,000 a year in the projected expenditure budget for the fiscal year 23-24. At the workshop, Gribbins cited the shooting Monday at Michigan State, where 3 students were killed. It's a sad reality in society today that we live in, and we've seen these horrific events. Tragic incidents increase rapidly across the country over the last couple of years. It's not necessarily true, but all right, I'll let that slide. Most recently, last night at Michigan State. This is why we've made the decision to add armed security to our present security detail. Please know that this decision was not taken lightly. And of course it's not. I understand that's not. Like I said, I don't want to live in a world where we need armed guards at an elementary school. I would prefer we build a culture of young people that don't resort to shooting up a school in order to be seen. Maybe we ought to have our children go outside every once in a while, touch some grass, make some friends, get off the phone, get off the computer, stop living in virtual reality. That way, when they get out into real reality, they can absorb what's happening. That's what happens. We stick kids in this virtual reality world for 10, 12, 14 hours a day, and then they end up being 22 years old, and we just push them out into the world, and they can't handle it. The use of armed guards in the schools has been controversial as educators and parents debate whether it's effective for preventing school shootings and if resources will be better spent on other priorities such as boosting mental health programs. Look, that is a valid point. However, at this point right now, where we are in culture, I think it's necessary. Look, at the very least, take down the sign to say gun-free zones. Because guess what? Criminals aren't going to leave their guns at home because they saw a plastic sign outside of a schoolyard. Okay? I've talked about it on the show before. There's a giant sign outside of Times Square that says no guns allowed. It's like, oh, well, I was going to go knock over the 7-Eleven in Times Square with my illegal handgun, but Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams put up a sign, so I guess maybe I'll stay home. Allison Bennett, the mother of a second grader at St. James Elementary School, said she believes such a measure is needed. It's so unfortunate, but at this time, it's necessary. It's better to have it and not need them than need them and not have it. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Officials at the Smithtown Teachers Association did not respond to a request for comment. Well, of course they didn't. I bet you if you had asked them about me, they would have responded, but whatever, that's a whole other story. School officials wrote that the new measure will strengthen the district's ability to respond during a crisis and deter those who seek to do harm. They also noted that the guards will not be posted within school buildings and said that there will be added presence and that their added presence will not interfere with day-to-day activities. So just in case there's anybody out there who wants to be dramatic and say, I don't know, now my child's going to be late to homeroom because they have to go through a metal detector. No, you're not not even going to know they're there. Several Long Island districts used armed security, including Montauk, Tuckahoe, West Babylon. School districts such as Connecticut, Massapequa, Hauppauge, Miller Place have either hired or explored hiring armed security. Newsday previously reported that South Huntington voted to hire armed guards in January. The South Huntington Superintendent Vito Delea said last month that his district was spurred by the shooting that killed 19 students and 2 teachers in Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The Smithtown district has begun the process of identifying security firms, and the guards will be required to undergo training every year and will be required to requalify through periodic performance-based assessments, the letter said. After the board approves the security firm, the guards will familiarize themselves with the school facilities and coordinate with Suffolk PD. So as I said, I wish we lived in a time and in a place where we didn't need these sorts of things. However, we currently don't. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. Guys, before I get to the last story, making fun of Kathy Hochul and not really understanding the concept of free speech and being shut down by a federal judge yet again, make sure you guys smash that Rumble button, share this video into all your social media apps, on your Getter, on your Truth Social. I want to thank everybody watching on Twitter. Brand new here. I finally remembered my Twitter password, so I was able to figure that one out. If you're on Facebook, hit that like button. That's the best way to help pump this show up the algorithm so more people can see it, so more of our local communities can understand what's happening in our schools. And that apparently, if you go to Sachem, the second largest school district on Long Island, the superintendent is very interested in your 15-year-old's sexual behavior. Very interested. That way he can provide whatever support they need. Very odd. Very, very odd. Also, guys, once again, head on over to loudmajorityus.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out the shop, use promo code LFA at checkout for 20% off everything on the website. That's LFA at checkout for 20% off everything on the website. Got about 15 minutes left, and I'm so excited about this one because a federal judge has blocked New York law mandating social media hateful content policies. Now, wow, we don't want hateful content on social media. That's not good. The problem is, who defines what hate is? I'll tell you who defines it. The absolute last people you would ever want in power, ever. The most motivated people among us will use this hateful conduct policy to shut down things they don't like, as I have personally seen over the last couple of weeks. Hello, Lisa. A federal judge has blocked New York's new law that prohibits hate speech on social media, ruling that the measure violates the Constitution's protection of free speech. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Kathy Hochul never read that clause because she's never read the Constitution, because rules and American values and traditions of the Western canon just don't matter to her because she is an authoritarian. U.S. District Court Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr. on Tuesday in Volokov v. James sided with Volokov, I'm mispronouncing that, and the Peter Thiel-backed video site Rumble. That's right, Rumble sued New York and won. I love it, which claimed the law will hurt online services and silence disfavored points of view. The New York governor in June signed legislation package that included new regulations governing how social media platforms police what it calls hateful conduct. The hateful conduct law requires social media websites to make it easy for users to report incidents of hateful conduct. Guys, I got news for you, okay? It's already easy. There's a little button there that says report post. Can't get any easier than that. And to respond to complaints explaining how the matter is being handled. Well, that would require social media companies to hire boatloads of individuals to handle the cancel culture campaigns put forth by many idiot radical leftists. Carter began his ruling by citing the Supreme Court's 2017 Mattel versus Tam decision, in which justices unanimously ruled that a federal law prohibiting trademark names that disparage others was unconstitutional. Speech may not be banned on the grounds that it expresses ideas that offend. After calling the law well-intentioned, Carter explained his decision. Yet the First Amendment protects from the state regulation speech that may be deemed hateful and generally disfavors regulation of speech based on its content unless it is narrowly tailored to serve a compelling government interest. Carter wrote in his decision, quote, "The hateful conduct law both compels social media networks to speak about the contours of hate speech and chills the constitutional protections of speech of social media users without articulating a compelling government interest or ensuring that the law is narrowly tailored is the goal." But that's not the goal. That's not the goal of something like this. Kathy Hochul, radical Democrats, those of her ilk, the ugly people who protest me, they want to shut you up. They want to shut this show down. They want to stop you from saying what you believe to be true on Facebook, on Twitter. And I'm very happy that there's a platform out there like Rumble that's actually doing the right thing and fighting back. We need these sorts of entities. We need guys like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk who will stand up for the concept of free speech, because without free speech, we have nothing else. We have nothing else. And I want to be clear. These sorts of free speech laws have been used in the past. These attempts to curtail free speech have been used in the past to shut people down who we now look at as heroes. Imagine if there had been a Facebook in the 1960s. Would much of the country have regarded the things Martin Luther King said as hate speech, or Malcolm X, who had some very choice words about white people? Guess what? I fully support Joy Reid's ability to go on the internet and be an open racist. Because now we know that Joy Reid is not to be taken seriously. When you confront free speech, when you confront the vile speech of others, you now know that that person is no longer to be taken seriously. They're to be picked up, put on a shelf. They go over there. This is why it's so important for the people among us who have the most vile views to be allowed to express them so that we know what they're saying and can challenge it. There's a phenomenal speech, if you guys want to check it out, by a former conservative PM in England. Her name's Anne Widdecombe. She served under Margaret Thatcher, and she gives a great oratory on the importance of free speech. And she was able to debate someone who tried to blow her up in the IRA bombings in the 80s. She was able to debate someone on that and make them look like fools. It's so important. It's so important that we protect the concept of free speech, because without that, there is nothing else. Without free speech, there's no free press. There's no freedom to assemble. There's certainly no ability to disagree with government. The first thing authoritarians do after they get rid of guns is get rid of the ability to speak. It's the first thing they do, because authoritarians hate dissent. There are only two kinds of people who want to ban speech, and they are at opposite ends of the political spectrum, but they are very good bedfellows. Authoritarians and snowflakes, both of whom I have no time for whatsoever. Judge Carter said the law overreached. Quote, "The hateful conduct law does not merely require that social media network provide its users with a mechanism to complain about instances of hateful conduct," Carter wrote. "The law also requires that social media networks must make a policy available on its website which details how the network will respond to the complaint of hateful conduct. In other words, the law requires that social media networks devise and implement a written policy, i.e. speech." It's so important that this sorts of thing happen, because this is what overreaching left-wing governors will do. Whether it's Gretchen Whitmer, or whether it's Kathy Hochul, or whether it's Gavin Newsom, they will go after national institutions like Facebook, like Twitter, things that happen in all 50 states. Whether you like them or you don't like them, that's not really the point of this argument. They will go over national companies like Ford, for instance, and California will put in a policy saying that all cars in California must have 50 miles to the gallon standards by a certain date to be able to be sold in California. So if you're Ford, what are you going to do? Are you going to lose out on all the sales in California? Or are you going to revamp your entire fleet to meet the needs of one particular state? I'll take it to this New York example. If this law were to have passed, social media companies, in order to operate in the state of New York, would have to curtail the stuff that they do over the course of 50 different states. They would have to make their platform different in every state, as opposed to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott in Texas, Kristi Noem in South Dakota. What they will do is make laws for their state and say, I don't care if New York wants to teach critical race theory. We're not going to do it here in Florida. If you want that crap, do it somewhere else. And then, of course, Democrats from California and New York will, of course, overstep and try to fight Florida because apparently New York authoritarians in New York want. Now, let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, good. Marek Adamski's in the chat. Let's leave him alone. Yeah. So, let me block him real quick. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Back to the story. Here's what ends up happening. As I said before, Democratic governors will try to impact policies that will affect all 50 states, where Republican governors impact policies that only affect their state. This is the difference. So when you look at a policy like what Governor Newsom did with the miles per gallon standard, that would have affected people all over the nation. That's how you have to look at policy to find out who oversteps and who does what they think is best for their constituents. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, Country Road, take me home, just came out with a law that says you can't teach critical race theory in high schools and colleges. West Virginia didn't say anything about what happens in Virginia because that's not their realm. That's not their jurisdiction. They're saying, we're not going to do it here. You want to do things everywhere else? You go right ahead and do it. But we're not going to do that stuff here. Whereas Phil Murphy in New Jersey or J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, idiots like that, will end up pushing policies for the entire nation because if you're on the left, you know you're right. You've never been wrong before because you come from the self-esteem culture, where everyone is special and everyone gets a trophy and everyone's right all the time. Where on the right, we realize that merit actually matters. Merit matters. I've got a great story coming up later at 1 o'clock about someone by the name of Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney, you guys are going to want to check that out. It's absolutely hilarious. Matt Walsh has a great video that I cannot wait to play for you. So make sure you guys head on over, check out my 1 o'clock show, rumble.com/LFATV. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're pulling up on 9 o'clock. Yeah, we're pulling up on 9 o'clock. Guys, make sure you smash that Rumble button on your way out the door. Share this video all across your social media platforms. Look, if you're in Smithtown and you have an opinion on the armed guards, okay. If you're in Sachem and you don't want your high school girl to be asked about her sexual activity, maybe go give your superintendent a call and ask him just what the hell is wrong with him. Once again, I want to thank News 12 for attempting to cover this, although the story you edited 10 hours ago left out the pertinent questions. I wonder why you did that, Kevin Vesey. But look, it could be because you're like one of the worst reporters on planet Earth. That's why you're still at News 12. But if you're on Facebook, smash that like button. Share this video out, guys. Invite your friends to like the page. If you go right to the top of the page, there are those little 3 dots. You can click on it. It says invite friends. Invite some people that you think, I don't know, who have kids that go to Sachem who may not know this sort of thing is happening. That's the entire point of this show. That's the entire point of this show. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys. Everybody who's not tuning in at 1 o'clock, I don't really know why, but make sure you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, guys. Stay loud.